Hey everyone, welcome back. I finally have the M14 event deck here, and I've got a bonus booster pack of Return to Ravnica here that I'll open up at the end of this video. Because we're still relevant with Return to Ravnica until next year for the current cycle of standard play, and hopefully there's something we can add to our event deck from that pack. I'm a little late with this, obviously. There's several videos out there already on YouTube. But I just want to get into it and do the usual discussion here. The event decks are generally have a couple or four rares in them, along with a playable sideboard and a nice little deck box here. Not sure if you'd actually use this for play. It does hold sleeved cards. There's a little extra room in here if you do sleeve them up, and it's got a spin down counter. Spin down, by the way, just learned today that that's actually a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The term for that, interestingly enough. Nice colors here, blue and white, along with the M14 logo is your 20 spot on there. So also included in here are a how to play guide and then a how to play this deck guide. Two separate pamphlets there, as well as your card divider, which will separate your sideboard from your main deck. So let's go right into the main deck here. Elvish Mystic. This is a green, and let's see here. It should tell us the colors on top here. Green and red deck, and there's some mana fixing in here as well. It has one of the dual lands from the Return to Ravnica block, which makes it a very worthwhile deck. I think one of the other videos or YouTubers who does videos like this had put the value on this deck of somewhere around 30 or 40 bucks. After you actually individually price out the cards, these Elvish Mystics are worth about $1 a piece, I believe. 4 of those, and it's a Land of War Elf. It's a functional reprint of the old card, adding 1 green to your mana pool for 1 for tapping it, and it's 1 to cast. It looks like there's some black in here as well. Now these cards that are your hybrid mana, you're not going to have any Met Black generation, I don't believe, in this deck. So you're just casting it for that 1 red and for the Unleash cost, and for the Unleash mechanic. So you're really just getting it. You're not going to be using the black, just the red portion. 2 of those, and it's a 1/1 for 1. So some early on here, we look like we have some aggro type creatures. Again, 1 cost, green and white. We'll be able to cast this with green or white that we have. 2 Dread Militants. If an instant or sorcery card will be put in play from a graveyard into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Sorry, I'm not I haven't done one of these videos in a while, so I'm a little rusty here. Colonian Tusker is a 3/3 for 2. I'm a big fan of this card. I think it's one of the best, if not the best, uncommon in M14. Was it Young Pyromancer? Might be the really cool one. But this is certainly up there for me, especially for the low cost. You basically get more than you pay for. Scar Guildmage, red and green. So I guess there's no white generation in here either. So your Dryad Militant will just be cast with the green, not the white. This has a couple abilities on it, so you get your 2/2 for 2 that you pay for, and then it's a Gruul branded card here. You tap a green and the red, and creatures you control gain trample until end of turn, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, you can also do 1 generic, 1 green, 1 red, and target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature until end of turn. It's still a land. So as long as that land has been in play for a turn, you can attack with that land, or attack with that creature that was a land. But certainly, if the land came into play this turn, I don't think you can use the mechanic on it right away because of summoning sickness. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Burning Tree Emissary is a very popular card from Gatecrash. It's a 2/2 for 2. When it enters the battlefield, you add 1 red and 1 green to your mana pool, so it's basically a free card. So this kind of deck, I think you'd want to have a 4 of in here. They gave you 2, so maybe 2 more. Priorwild Shaman is a Gatecrash card. It's a 3/1 for 3 with Blood Rush. And then whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, if this card is in your graveyard, you may pay 3 generic mana. If you do, return it to your hand. So for the same casting cost, essentially cost-wise, you get this card back whenever your creatures deal damage to a player, not a creature. Slaughterhorn is at 2 for 3 with Blood Rush, simple card. 3 of those. Wild Beastmaster is a rare from Return to Ravnica. It's a 3-cost 1/1. So whenever this card attacks, each other creature you control gets +X, where X is Wild Beastmaster's power. So I'm guessing there's something in here that'll be able to pump up this card. So it's not just the 1/1 that you get there, or +1/+1. Org Battle Driver is another rare. So for 4 mana, you can have a 3/3 that whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+0 and has haste until end of turn. Great card. Deathbridge Goliath. So maybe there's more than 4 rares in here. I know the new Theros theme deck will have 10 rares in it. That's pretty impressive. Whether or not that drives the cost of those or the price of those rares down is yet to be seen. But I imagine you'll get pretty good value if the price point on these, and generally it's right around $20. You can probably get these for about $18 shipped on eBay, plus or minus $1 or $2, and then from your local gaming store, you expect to pay the full $20 plus tax. So Deathbridge Goliath is a 5/5 for 4 that has Scavenge for 6. And the way Scavenge works is that you exile this card once it's in your graveyard, and then you put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the power onto a target creature. So the fact that this is going to be in your graveyard, it's only going to be a 5/5, but for 6 to add 5 +1/+1 counters, it's not terribly bad. It'd be great if you could put it on any number of target creatures, but you can only put it on 1. So not a home run, but certainly a 5/5 for 4 is a good cost-benefit ratio here. A Gore Clan Rampagers is a 4/4 for 4 with Trample and Blood Rush, and the Blood Rush cost is only 2. And then if you discard the card, target attacking creature gets +4/+4 and gains Trample until end of turn. So that's a pretty strong Blood Rush ability. So we have 4 of those. How about that? From previous theme decks, or event decks rather, you generally only see 3 ofs, and I've seen a lot more of the 4 of in this deck so far. Rubble Belt Raiders is a 3/3 4-cost creature. Whenever Rubble Belt Raiders attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each attacking creature you control. And a Wrecking Ogre. I always mix that up. Wrecking Ogre is a 5-drop 3/3 with Double Strike and Blood Rush. Blood Rush cost is 5, +3/+3, and Double Strike are the Blood Rush abilities. Get 4 Gruul Guildgates, and a Rogue's Passage, and a Stomping Ground. So this is essentially a $7 or $8 card, I think, at the low end on its own, and probably $8, $9, $10 on the high end. So definitely worth it to buy this deck just for this card and the rares involved in it. Like I said, the pricing single card wise on this thing basically puts you in the black by $10 just based on the card values. We're going to have Forest and Mountains here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 Forest, and I'm notorious for miscounting these, so please, I apologize in advance if I do. 12 Forest and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Mountain. At some point, I'd like to go back and double check the mana curve and the mana cost and see if they abide by the standard, thought process where you basically take your 26 or so mana and divide it equally among the same ratio of your cost on your cards themselves. There is no booster pack in these. There is no foil rare like they have in the intro decks. So value-wise, if you're a beginner, probably intro decks, but at the same time, this is kind of a home run, like I said before, as far as I'm concerned on value. Probably this and the Selesnya event deck from from Dragon's Maze really kind of impressed me with what they give you for your dollar spent. 3 Shock, which is just a quick instant damage card, one weaker than a Lightning Bolt. But this is back. I think it had been away for 2 or 3 core sets, but this is where the Shock lands got their name from, because the Shock lands deal 2 damage to you. And the second half after the mana base here is all sorcery instant and spell cards, opposed to creature cards. Mizzium Mortars is a 2-drop sorcery that deals 4 damage to target creature you don't control. And you could overload it. And you may think that the Mizzium Mortars deals 4 damage to target creature you don't control. The you don't control part, doesn't really sound like it makes much sense. Like, why would you need to put that wording in there? And it's because of the overload cost, where you can change any instance of target with each. So if it was just Mizzium Mortars deals 4 damage to target creature, period. If you change that with the overload, it would certainly not benefit you at all. So for a 6 cost overload, you get to deal 4 damage to every creature that you don't control. Definitely a EDH card, and there are several in the M14 set. Gruul Charm, uncommon, 2-drop instant, where it's a choice card. Creatures without flying can't block this turn or gain control of all permanents you own. Which is great if you've got somebody, and this is probably something you'd pull out for a sideboard, and put in if you have an opponent that likes to steal creatures away from you. Or Gruul Charm deals 3 damage to each creature with flying. And I don't think there's any flying in this deck, so it's probably a pretty good addition here. Flames of the Firebrand is a 3-drop sorcery with deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures and or players. So high cost, but the ability to disseminate that damage how you choose is you're paying a premium for it. Clan Defiance is another rare. It's X generic and 1 red and 1 green, where you choose 1 or more, so you can choose any one of these. Clan Defiance deals X damage to target creature with flying, deals X damage to target creature without flying, and or deals X damage to target player. So you can really do a lot of damage with just the 1 card. And it looks like we have a split card here, or a fuse card as it's become more known as, which is a split card with the fuse ability. Armed and Dangerous, you have on the left side a 2-drop sorcery where a target creature gets +1/+1 and gains double strike until end of turn. So that double strike is a little bit of a theme throughout this deck. 1 or 2 other cards have that ability. And then your dangerous portion on the right-hand side is a 4-drop, and then all creatures able to block target creature this turn do so. So overall, very, very strong, I think, aggro-based deck here, and something that you could probably really easily drop in to any Friday Night Magic and play fairly competitive with. Your sideboard here is going to be 15 cards, and that's just a regular 60-card deck. And you'll have stuff in here that you would most likely be able to swap in on demand, depending on what type of deck your opponent's playing. So even though this is a kind of out-of-the-box deck, you also have the ability to kind of build around or take cards in and out, depending on what your opponent has. So even if they know you're playing an event deck, they're not going to know which cards you're going to swap into your deck here. Interesting note, when you sideboard out between matches, I heard this great tip recently that you basically want to put your entire sideboard into your deck, shuffle up, and then pull out the cards that you don't need. That way your opponent doesn't have much chance at all of knowing what you're swapping in, what you're swapping out. Heck, they might think you're taking the entire 15 cards and swapping them out. So it's kind of a neat tactic to use to make sure that they're not gaining any advantage over you through looking at your cards and how you swap out your sideboard. So going into the sideboard, finally, Savage Summoning is a 1-drop instant, and it can't be countered, and the next creature you cast this turn can be cast as though it had Flash. The spell can't be countered. That creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So a fairly strong card there. I'm not even sure why this isn't in the main board, because it is a fairly strong card you can use in almost any deck. Skullcrack is a 2-drop instant where players can't gain life this turn. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Skullcrack deals 3 damage to target player. So it's something that you would throw on top of the stack if your opponent has a big life gain card. And there are a few of them in M14, I think especially in white. Destroy target artifact or enchantment is your naturalize. Old standby card. Here's a 2-drop instant. Another Gruul Charm, 2 extra in your sideboard. So maybe if I mentioned that when we went through the Gruul Charm initially, that it would be a good card to have in your sideboard. It'd be good to bring the other 2 in if you're playing an opponent that takes your creatures for that second ability in there. Active Treason is a 3-drop sorcery where you gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. So if your opponent's playing these, you should be playing that. And if your opponent's playing that, you may not have as much use for the Active Treasons. Annihilating Fire is a 3-drop instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. 3/4 there. And you have 2 Enlarges, which is a 5-drop sorcery where target creature gets +7/+7 and gains trample until end of turn. It must be blocked if this turn available. And that's a big old cat swimming underwater there, huh? So a good card. Certainly if it's blocked this turn, kind of takes a little bit away from it, but you're getting more than you paid for with the 3. The 2 extra +1/+1s. So you know for 5 mana you get +7/+7 and trample. So like I said, overall very good deck. I'll put this back in here with the divider now, and probably sleeve it up and test draw at some point too. But very 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 good. I don't know if anyone's played this yet and give it a playing review on it, but I imagine it's no slouch at all. So there's that. Let's take a look at the RTR booster pack I have here. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. I know I was late with this video. I'm going to try and be a little bit more prudent with my Theros posts. But I do appreciate every view you guys, every minute you guys take to watch these videos. And I'd really appreciate any likes that you can give me down there at the bottom. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Shooting for about 50 subscribers. I think I was at 45 or so at last glance. And I do have something at the end here that we'll look at for the 50 subscriber opening. So someone wants here, Giant Growth can probably go in this deck. Trader's Instinct as well. It's a gaining control of target creature until end of turn. Untap the creature, blah, blah, blah. Definitely goes with the theme here. Common Bond we wouldn't be able to cast here because we don't have any white mana in the deck. Rakdos Shred Freak. It's a 2/1 with haste for 2. You could certainly play it here because you have the reds. Now, the mountain to forest ratio is fairly low. So getting 2 reds in a point in the game where you're going to be able to use this may not be, the best use of your a space in your deck. But if you really like haste, it's something that you would want to consider. Quadrozen Monitor. Now it is a Golgari card, but for 3/3 with Scavenge, you only have to pay 4 for it. It also has trample, so that's something you might consider as well. Tristani's Judgment. Tentament Crasher is a 6-drop 5/4 with haste. A little expensive, but again, if you liked haste, maybe it's something you think about. Grim Roustabout. Azorius Keyrunes is our first uncommon here. We all know about Keyrunes. If you watch my videos, you know how much I'm not a huge fan of them, but I digress. Pyroconvergence is a 5-drop enchantment. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, Pyroconvergence deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So for 5 cost, you kind of have to go back and see how many multicolored spells you have in here if it's worthwhile, but something you might consider as well. And look, we got Dryad Melton, something that I said I think we could put one more in there. I don't remember how many you had. Maybe it was 2 or 3. But certainly if you already got a couple in there, it makes sense to bring in another one. And this pack just seems to be tailor-made for this core set event deck, because we have Elysian Mortars, which I said is a very good rare. It's the 2-drop where it deals 4 damage to a target creature you don't control. And we got a Swamp in the back here with a tip card. So, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 essentially playable cards here that you may consider putting into your event deck. So I got lucky on that one. Hey, again, appreciate you guys viewing. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos. I will show you really quick the opening I'll be doing at 50 viewers. 50 subscribers. It's the Divine versus Demonic dual decks. So what I'll be doing with this is, taking them out, talking about each card. Hopefully not as long as this video is on all the individual cards, but getting into the synergy of the deck and doing a few test draws with them. I won't make you watch, but I will sleeve them up before they do that because this is a fairly expensive dual deck. So thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.